Hello. Okay. Um, we are going to start. I'm afraid I'm the only one at this session because Dr. Kouros has to sort out certain things outside, and he's going to come later. And the other lady who is from France, I'm afraid she couldn't make it, so they left me alone. For the good and the bad. Anyway, so let me introduce myself. My name is N.KARKANI-A.PARMENIDOU. I'm a clinical psychologist, systemically oriented and trained. And I'm going to start by redefining, establishing and maintaining healthy environments. We'll try to just see how can we proceed toward the social ecology of health promotion during these difficult times. All right, so okay, I'm afraid I have to read these because this is actually an idea of how am I going to propose my PhD later on. So it's quite a long draft. I'm going to read it because it's not so easy for me to just remember everything like this. So let's start. Earlier research on health promotion has emphasized behavior change strategies rather than environmentally focused interventions. Okay. The advantages of integrating lifestyle modification, injury control, and environmental enhancement strategies of health promotion are substantial. We will offer a health promotive environment emphasizing the transactions between individual or collective behavior and the health resources and constraints that exist in specific environmental settings. Directions for future research on the creation and maintenance of health promotive environments also are going to be examined. Undoubtedly, we live in an era fraught with technological hazards, degraded natural resources, and the pervasive threat of global conflict. The signal challenge of our time is to establish and maintain healthy environments. Yet many regions of the world continue to be plagued by war. Millions of people in the third world are ravaged by disease and famine, while people in industrial nations are becoming painfully aware of the health costs resulting from their exposure to environmental pollution and other byproducts of high technology. And more recently, of course, vast numbers of dislocated refugees have been spread all over Europe. These global dilemmas make the tasks of creating and maintaining healthy environments seem rather daunting and perhaps unachievable. Nonetheless, it is important that efforts to take constructive action at local and regional levels not to be deterred by the complexity and severity of global environmental problems. The small wins approach to social problems suggests that as incremental health promotion and environmental protection efforts are adapted at local communities, they can exert a positive albeit gradual influence on the quality and healthfulness of the global environment. Sound theoretical analysis of such key concepts as health, health promotion, and healthy environments are essential prerequisites for the development of effective environmental design and public policy programs to create healthful surroundings. A review of the relevant research literature on such topics as health promotion, environmental stress, and environmental risk assessment reveals important gaps in our understanding of such issues. That's why my references are not so quite updated. You can see it. A major goal of this presentation, therefore, is to develop an ecological analysis of health promotion, focusing particularly on the conceptualization of health promotive environments. The analysis of health promotion from an ecological perspective is grounded in a contextually oriented view of human health and well-being. Although an ecological perspective is beginning to emerge in health promotion research, with particular emphasis on linking individually focused small group, organizational, and community approaches to health promotion, the delineation of specific environmental leverage points for health promotion at each level of analysis remains an important task. The present analysis, therefore, addresses the question, what environmental qualities of organizational and community settings are especially health promotive? In Michelson's terminology, the emphasis here is on developing a more environmentally explicit version of the ecological approach to health promotion. Furthermore, a second goal of this presentation is to identify some important directions for future research on the creation and maintenance of healthy environments. Included among these research directions are opportunities for evaluating the efficacy of environmental design, urban planning, public policy, and regulatory efforts to promote enhanced well-being at organizational, municipal, regional, and international levels. I'm more preventive oriented instead of the rest of the work, because I used to work clinically and I know how hard clinical work is. So let's see how the social ecology of health promotion and the core assumptions. The term ecology pertains broadly to the interrelations between organisms and their environments. And we mustn't forget, we are entering the digital era. The information economy and the knowledge economy is completely different from the industrial era. From its early roots in biology, the ecological paradigm has evolved in several disciplines, sociology, psychology, economics, and public health, to provide a general framework for understanding the nature of people's transactions with their physical and sociocultural surroundings. The field of social ecology gives greater attention to the social, institutional, and cultural contexts of people-environment relations than did the earlier versions of human ecology, which were more closely oriented to biological processes in the geographic environment. The social ecological perspective encompasses certain core assumptions about the dynamics of human health and the development of effective strategies to promote personal and collective well-being. These assumptions are outlined below. First, the healthfulness of a situation and the well-being of its participants are assumed to be influenced by multiple facets of the physical environment, which is geography, architecture, and technology, and the social environment, which is culture, economics, and politics. Moreover, the health status of individuals and groups is influenced not only by environmental factors and groups, but also by a variety of personal attributes, including genetic heritage, psychological dispositions, and behavioral patterns. Analysis of health and health promotion should address the multidimensional and complex nature of human environments. Environments can be described in terms of the physical and social components, but they also can be characterized in terms of their objective, actual, or subjective perceived qualities and their scale or immediacy to individuals and groups. Furthermore, environments can be described as an array of independent attributes, lighting, temperature, noise, space, arrangement, and group size, or in terms of the composite relationships among several features as exemplified by such constructs as behavior settings, person-environment fit, and social climate. The highly variegate nature of human environments has direct implications for the design and evaluation of health promotion programs. Now, just as environments can be described in terms of their relative scale and complexity, the participants in those environments can be studied at varying levels, ranging from individuals, small groups and organizations, to larger aggregates and populations. Instead of focusing solely on individuals or aggregates, the social ecological perspective incorporates multiple levels of analysis and diverse methodologies: medical examinations, questionnaires, behavioral observations, environmental recordings, and epidemiological analysis, of course, for assessing the healthfulness of settings and the well-being of individuals and groups. The social ecological perspective assumes that the effectiveness of health promotion programs can be enhanced significantly through the coordination of individuals and groups acting at different levels, such as family members who make efforts to improve their health practices, corporate managers who shape organizational health policies, and public health officials who supervise community health services. The social ecological perspective incorporates a variety of concepts derived from systems theory, interdependence, homeostasis, negative feedback, deviation, amplification, to specify key environmental resources or constraints that are likely to influence personal and collective well-being among members of the setting. The following three tables list various environmental resources that can exert a positive influence on individual and group well-being, from micro-level features of the physical environment to more composite aspects of the socio-physical milieu. They also include several behavioral, psychological, and physiological indices that can be used to assess health outcomes of people-environment transactions at different levels of analysis. Now, the first, of course, facet of healthfulness has to do with physical health. And regarding environmental resources, injury-resistant design, ergonomically sound design, physical comfort, non-toxic and non-pathogenic environment. Regarding the behavioral, psychological, and physiological outcomes, we have, of course, absence of illness, physiological health, symptoms and injury, perceived comfort, genetic and reproductive health. Mental and emotional well-being is the second one. And, of course, regarding environmental resources, we have to take in account environmental controllability and predictability, environmental novelty and challenge, low distraction, aesthetic qualities, symbolic and spiritual elements. And regarding the behavioral, psychological, and physiological outcomes, we, of course, talking about the sense of personal competence, challenge and fulfillment, developmental growth, minimal experience of emotional distress, strong sense of personal identity, meaning and commitments, creativity, feelings of attachment to one's physical and social milieu. And the third one concerns, of course, social cohesion at organizational and community levels, availability of social support networks. In certain areas, it is, particularly in Greece, it's non-existent. Participatory design and management processes, organizational flexibility, responsiveness, economic stability, low potential for intergroup conflict and programming. Regarding behavioral, psychological, physiological outcomes, we are talking about high levels of social contact and cooperation, commitment to and satisfaction with organization and community, productivity and innovation at organization and community levels, high levels of perceived quality of life. In Greece, quality of life goes down the drain the last couple, 6, 7 years. Prevalence of health promotive, injury preventive, and environmentally protective behavior. Now, given the diversity of environmental conditions present in most settings, it is likely that the relationship between those conditions and multiple health indices will be quite varied and sometimes contradictory. For example, the potential health benefits of a well-designed physical environment may go unrealized if the interpersonal or intergroup relationships in the setting are chronically conflicted and stressful. On the other hand, a socially supportive family or organization may enable setting members to cope more effectively with physical constraints, thereby avoiding the negative behavioral and health outcomes sometimes associated with these conditions. Let's skip some. I'm going to skip certain. For example, in conflict-prone organizations, the positive interdependencies among members are weaker, and effective mechanisms of discounted resolution are unavailable. Such settings may be characterized by more rigid ideological orientations that offer less tolerance for diverse points of view in the organization. To the extent that organizations promote chronic conflict among members or provide few resources to resolve such conflicts when they arise, they are more likely to impair the emotional and physical well-being of the members. Okay, let's turn to developing interdisciplinary models of the relationships among environmental and behavioral factors in health. Apart from the predominant focus of health promotion programs on modifying personal health habits and lifestyles, several theories have called for a redirection of the field on the basis of ecological models of research and community intervention. Green, as early as 1984, noted a psychological bias in the health promotion field in that illness preventive interventions typically are directed at individuals in a counseling or small group mode of delivery with little or no theoretical input from the fields of sociology, anthropology, economics, and political science. SIME emphasized the cost-effectiveness of individually oriented health promotion programs, for example, the multiple risk factor intervention trials intervention to reduce cardiovascular disease among high-risk individuals, and advocated a strong community and environmental focus in public health research. The social ecological perspective requires a broader analysis of the transactions between individual and collective behaviors and the various constraints and resources for health that exist in specific socio-physical environments. Envirogenic processes in health and their link with biological, psychological, and behavioral factors. Antonovsky used the term salutogenesis to refer to etiologic processes that enhance emotional and physical well-being. The salutogenic orientation is distinctive in its focus on the etiology of health as compared to more traditional pathogenic models that emphasize the development of illness. Antonovsky has focused primarily on psychogenic factors in health, especially individuals' sense of coherence, which enables them to resist the potential negative health consequences of stressful life events. This sense of coherence is at stake nowadays, and we can actually see it regarding identity formation. Construed more broadly, however, the salutogenic perspective encompasses not only psychological resistant resources, but also a wide array of biological, behavioral, and environmental processes that reduce vulnerability to illness and promote enhanced levels of well-being. Several categories of personal and environmental factors that play either an etiologic or moderating role in human health are shown in Table 2, which is, of course, a long one, and I'm not going to talk about each one. It's section because I don't want to spend time. You can actually see this. I have uploaded this paper at academia.edu, where you can actually see the whole paper on your own pace and read it as well. All right. So the personal factors include a variety of biogenetic, psychological, and behavioral processes that promote or undermine well-being. The environmental factors include several facets of the socio-physical environment, such as geographic, architectural, technological, and socio-cultural processes that influence health. Many researchers in the field of health psychology have focused on the direct links between specific dispositional factors and personal health. For example, several studies indicated the close relationship between individual well-being and personal orientations such as hostility, optimism, sense of coherence, personal hardiness, and coping efficacy. Other researchers working from a biopsychosocial model of health have examined the interplay between psychological dispositions, interpersonal behavior, and physiological processes underlying health and illness. Okay, what has been omitted from much earlier research on psychological and behavioral factors in health are structural features of the socio-physical environment that affect individual and collective well-being, either directly or interactively in conjunction with biopsychobehavioral factors. These envirogenic processes in health and illness subsume geographic, architectural, and technological features of the physical environment and sociogenic qualities of the social and cultural that influence the etiology of health. Therefore, an important direction for future research on the environmental dimensions of health promotion is identification of the specific mechanisms by which geographic, architectural, technological, and sociocultural factors influence health and illness. 5 health-related functions of the socio-physical environment are outlined in the following tables. Okay, let's see. What about the medium of disease? Well, environmental function has to do, of course, certain waterborne and airborne disease, microbial contamination of food, and of course the physical social has to do with the spread of contagious disease through interpersonal contact. And what about environmental function? The stress has to do with negative affective states from exposure to such physical stressors as uncontrollable noise and technological risk, negative health consequences of residential relocation. And of course, regarding the social level, we have vulnerability to health problems resulting from chronic social conflict, isolation, social isolation, organizational instability, and abrupt economic change. Regarding the source of safety or danger, exposure to climatic and geologic risks, injury-resistant environmental design, effects of toxic environments, occupational hazards, and regarding the social level, of course, risk of personal injury resulting from intergroup conflict, violence, and crime at the end. And what enables health behavior? Geographic accessibility of healthcare facilities in the community, installation of health behavioral supports in buildings and vehicles, interpersonal modeling of health promotive behavior and safety practice, health promotive cultural and religious practices regarding the social level. We have to think of these very carefully nowadays because of the multicultural environment that is in increase lately in Greece, well, and this has created a lot of threat at the indigenous population. Provider of health resources regarding environmental function, helpful lighting and air quality in buildings, community sanitation systems. We live in very old buildings. Many of our hospitals in Greece are very old indeed. And regarding the social level, we have to think about legislation pertaining to public health and safety, availability of organization, community health services. We have a lot of work to do in this country. All these health-relevant functions of the socio-physical environment are closely intertwined, of course, and can operate concurrently in specific environmental contexts. The social ecological view of health promotion has important implications not only for theory development, of course, in basic research, but also for public policy, community interventions, and program evaluation. Now, what about community interventions to promote public health? That's going to be a multi-level approach, therefore, since the environmental and personal factors in health and illness offer several leverage points for health promotive policies and community interventions at all levels, municipal, regional, national, and international. And examples of these environmental design and public policy options for health promotion are summarized in the following table in relation to various categories of etiologic factors. Although I know that I have plenty of time because nobody has appeared, I think I'm going to give you an idea without actually talking about this by showing you the tables. We can think of health promotive interventions regarding person-focused strategies, and we aiming at preventing public health programs for risk screening, genetic counseling and inoculation, medical treatment regimens regarding the psychological, behavioral promotive interventions. We are talking about individual counseling and psychotherapeutic interventions, health behavior modification, lifestyle appraisal and modification pertaining to diet, exercise, smoking, and safety practices. And regarding the environment-focused strategies, we are talking about urban planning, land use policy, environmental law at municipal, regional, international levels, strategic seating of healthcare facilities in the community, long way to go. Architectural and technological, we are talking about ergonomic and safety-oriented environmental design. Many of our schools need these. Facilities management, design of safe and health promotive products, community sanitation systems, and regarding the socio-cultural interventions, we're talking about organizational development and conflict resolution, corporate health promotion programs, community health education, media programming, health promotive legislation, and building codes. Therefore, the predominant emphasis of health promotion research has been we are aware that the predominant emphasis of health promotion research has been on individual level interventions while the social ecological perspective emphasizes the integration of person-focused and environment-focused strategies to enhance individual and collective being, it is more complex way of approaching health. Health promotive policies and interventions can be carried along a continuum ranging from micro-environmental settings to larger environmental contexts. And let's turn to the international efforts, because all these are actually coming from what has actually occurred a long time ago at the larger scale, or at the large-scale organizations, WHO, for example. International efforts to protect environmental quality and to promote public health. International efforts toward environmental protection and health promotion also have increased substantially in recent years. Growing public concern over global environmental problems has stimulated greater international collaboration in economic and legal matters. Examples of intercity and cross-national cooperation in health promotion include the World Health Organization's Healthy Cities Project, the Municipal Foreign Policy Movement, and the WHO's Global School Health Initiative. It is a marvelous program. I just didn't have time to go and search more about this health initiative at the school level, launched in 1995, that seeks to mobilize and strengthen health promotion and education activities at the local, national, regional, and global levels. That means that we have to cultivate certain attitudes from a very early age, okay? And the initiative is designed to improve the health of students, school personnel, families, and other members of the community through schools. As part of the Healthy Cities project, public health professionals from several countries work together in developing and implementing intersectoral city health plans, and WHO staff provided technical assistance and resource materials to the participating cities. And well, one product of this collaboration was a European television series on healthy cities. An important defining attribute of healthy cities is that they continually create and improve physical and social environments conducive to the health of the residents. Okay, that's a more analytic way of looking at this program. Okay, and a central concept that will guide future environmental, of course, and health promotive legislation is the notion of the so-called sustainable development. We are more or less all aware of this. According to Robinson, sustainable development is the emerging cluster of policies by which we manage the use of the Earth's environment and natural resources to ensure the optimal level of sustainable benefits for present and succeeding generations. And growing concern about the sustainability of global resources highlights the crucial importance of public health forecasting, environmental stimulation strategies, and the temporal dimensions of health promotion. Okay, and collaborative international efforts to protect the global environment, promote the well-being of the world's population, give new meaning to the concept of health behavior. When we are talking about health, we are not talking about our diet only, of course. Future health promotion programs must influence not only the behaviors of individuals that enhance or undermine their own well-being, but also the decisions they make and the actions they take on behalf of others, ranging from small groups to urban populations in their roles as environmental planners, corporate executives, and community leaders. Okay. Well, the social ecological perspective emphasizes the advantages of multi-level interventions that combine complementary or synergistic behavioral and environmental components. For example, behavior modification programs for smoking cessation is more effective when it coincides with no smoking policies at the workplace environments. We know in Greece we are heavy smokers in general terms, but there are certain people who work hard at giving up this bad habit anyway. I was one of them. Similarly, corporate or school-based programs that encourage individuals to improve their diet and exercise regularly may be facilitated by community-wide media campaigns to promote heart-healthy lifestyles, regulatory interventions to enhance food quality, and safety, and the provision of physical fitness and recreational facilities in work environments and residential areas. This is an utopian proposal, of course, but let's try to do our best. The ecological perspective suggests that multifaceted interventions that incorporate complementary environmental and behavioral components and span multiple settings and levels of analysis are more likely to be effective in promoting personal and public health than are those narrower in scope. In any case, before substantial resources are committed to the implementation of health promotion programs, a variety of spatial, temporal, organizational, and motivational constraints of their effectiveness must be identified and resolved. We have a lot of work to do. Conclusions. Undoubtedly, the challenge of creating and maintaining healthy environments raises several complex theoretical, methodological, and public policy questions. The social ecological conceptualization of health promotive environment emphasizes the interactions among physical, material, and social symbolic features of environments as they affect the emotional, physical, and social well-being of individuals and groups. These are the references, not so updated anyway, and the full written paper is available from this platform where you can actually, I'm going to upload it very, very soon, and you will have all the time available at your own place in order to have a look, and then we can actually proceed. That's it. Thank you very much for being here. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Parmenidis. Would you like to accept some questions?
Yes, of course.
Is there anybody who would like to make any questions to Mrs. Parmenidis?
Have you seen the use of this model in engaging community members to help design
In engaging, sorry, I didn't.
Could you please repeat to the microphone?
I mean, something that I'm always curious about is how we use these models to guide, the health, our multi-level health promotion initiatives, and in a way that is collaboratively developed with community members. So, have you seen the use of this model? I guess what I'm curious about is this being informing health promoters to design and implement the health promotion intervention? Have you seen any engagement of community members that help?
No, to the moment.
Any thoughts on that and how to integrate that with this kind of perspective that informs health promoters at that kind of higher level of decision making? How we build that and integrate that with.
That's right. I think we have to work from the ground up. From the very early age of school, from little children. I mean, the little children need to become more acquainted of how to take care of their own health. But of course, this has to take place, of course, at schools, okay? And this needs a complete changing of focus and, priorities of how we conceive of health. Health, not only health, physical health, emotional health, mental health, because I studied as a clinical psychologist, okay? So I spent years and years understanding what is going wrong with people and why, they end up, asking for help or, end up becoming addicted to medicine or all this stuff. And I realized that it is because we don't give enough emphasis on what needs to be done at an early age. Mm-hmm. And of course, not all families are in the position to help their children. So Dr. we have to train educators, and we have to become more aware of how the educational system becomes more sensitive in these issues.
If somebody else, please
yes.
make an effort to be.
All right.
To give some short answers.
That's it.
So
Thank
that
you.
We can give it to another person to make a short other question.
Next.
Because we have to proceed to the next lecture. Because we are...
5:45, this is 5:45.
Yes, 5:45, but there are 2 lectures in this session from 5 to 6.
Yes, I know, but Dr. Kouros told me.
Yes, but there was a mistake from the secretariat. Yes, it was.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
that was.
So-
Anybody else wants to ask me
In
something?
these sessions, we have 2 lectures.
Okay. All right. I will be glad to hear anybody wanting to contact
we can come
me.
over again if we have the
Okay,
time. And if